This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 362.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster.
We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everyone. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, I'm excited. Upcoming events, as always, we have one. WordCamp India is still going on. There are 2 more weekends. Remember, it started on January 30th. It's going to go all the way through February 14th. So you still have time to participate and pay attention and learn from all those over at WordCamp India, presenters, etc. Check that out. No job listings to share this week. No one sent me any in. And that's it for the events. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Two things to talk about here. Full site editing is being targeted for the release of WordPress 5.8, which is due in June 2021. What is full site editing? Well, Matt mentioned it in State of the Word about one of the major things coming out this year, bringing the Gutenberg plugin and WordPress core combined to having the ability to edit all elements of a site using Gutenberg blocks. So it should be interesting. Of course, I need to get on that Gutenberg bandwagon, as some of my friends have told me. I need to jump into that. I really do. We just haven't used it really that much yet. Anyway, so there's that. So full site editing is due for WordPress 5.8, but due in June of this year. So about 5 months to go. All right, what else in the news? Oh yeah, I'm selling a domain. Yeah, I'm going to share that here because it's one of my side hustles of side hustles. As many of you may know, I have a lot of things going on, so I'm told. Anyway, I'm selling canyoustartyesterday.com. You can go to there right now and see the single page that I created real quick. I shut down the service, and I'm letting things go. I'm focusing and narrowing down the focus this year. So, and slight pivots coming. More to come, as I mentioned earlier this year. So you can go make your offer there. There's a form and there's a buy it now button. Check it out. All right. So yeah, I'm shutting something down, letting something go. And there's that. All right. What else? That is it in the news. Moving on to the meat potatoes. But first, I want to thank our sponsor this week, which is WP Toolkit by cPanel. Now, WP Toolkit includes everything you need to take care of and control of your WordPress websites. Plural websites. From customizable installations to intuitive management of backups, themes, plugins, and passwords, WordPress WP Toolkit is ideal for anyone who manages multiple WordPress websites. You need to create a predefined theme and plugin set that can be used to auto-configure brand new WordPress installations with one click. Guess what? WP Toolkit by cPanel can do this, and it is a huge time saver. Need to run updates? WP Toolkit easily allows you to put your sites in maintenance mode and display a custom message to your visitors while you do various tasks like backups, restores, or even debugging. It's all included. Oh, and did I mention there's no limit to the number of WordPress websites you can manage with this great toolkit? So, when you're looking for the most complete, secure, and versatile toolkit for WordPress, head over to cpanel.net/WP-toolkit to learn more. And thanks again to cPanel for sponsoring this week's episode. All right, moving on to segment 2, the meat potatoes of this week's episode, discounting your services. Continuing on the discussion for pricing from last week, which I want to say thanks for the feedback from people on Twitter and the DMs. I much appreciate that. It was really nice to hear from you. So anyway, it dawned on me that the flip side of the coin on pricing would be discounting of your pricing. So this week, let's talk about that. Discounting sales has always been a thing. It takes on different names: promo pricing, seasonal sales, BOGO, which is buy one, get one, etc. So the thought here is, are there reasons that you might want to offer a discount? Yes, there's good, there's bad, there's ugly. So I want to talk about these things in a broad stroke, if you will. So let's start with a few reasons you might want to offer a discount. So let's say you're selling a physical product and you need to move the outdated stuff. This happens in many vertical markets such as automobiles, clothing, food, groceries, day-old fruit. That is something you might want to discount, if you do that kind of work or have that kind of industry. It can also quickly drive sales based on urgency, get this now before we run out of inventory kind of thing. So you can create demand for a product or service. You can be an early bird buyer, so you can give people a special by being early bird. It's also known as the Kickstarter Effect. Kickstarter is a huge platform to get people to buy in on something at a discount to help the people who are selling the product fund the creation of said product. So, and you can also, let's say, focus on a demographic. You can give a discount to senior citizens or students, and that's not a bad idea if it makes sense to do that. Okay, so let's balance that out with why not to offer a discount. First and foremost, it establishes a lower perceived value for your product or service. If you offer a discount and your primary focus is price rather than your product or service, the only competitive advantage you have is price. So your business it might be in trouble there. Price matching, in my opinion, is a race to the bottom. People say, well, I can get so-and-so done at another competitor of yours, especially this was back when I was doing more video editing and duplications of DVDs. I would get calls all the time about people saying, I can go get a DVD duplicated or scans at Walmart for a lot less. And I would say, well, great, go to Walmart. I am not Walmart. I'm a much smaller company, and I don't have that scale to give that type of pricing. So it's a race to the bottom. It can also negatively impact quality. As I mentioned before, a moment ago, offering a discount can lead your company to having no choice but provide a greater number of products or services in a shorter period of time, which can then decrease the quality to get it done on time. The lower the quality, the greater chance of your company losing its credibility and gaining a bad reputation. It's true, it happens. Fast and cheap doesn't mean good necessarily, right? And it sets a bad precedent. Offering a discount can lead your customers to expect that lower price going forward. It just kind of becomes the de facto standard. I remember when I was doing more video editing again, reference point here, where a colleague of mine would always just offer 20% off. He'd do the whole line items, break everything out, and do 20% off. And I asked why. He's like, that's what he was taught. One day, I decided not to do that, and no one said a thing. So I got myself a 20% raise. So it sets a bad precedent. Okay. So a couple of reasons there why you might want to, might not want to. So here are some alternatives that you might want to consider when it comes to pricing. Emphasize value. Now, presenting your value proposition is always the best alternative to discounting, in my opinion. You have two choices when attempting to balance the price and value. So raise your value over lowering your price. The customer gets what they paid for, and you made more money and avoided long-term issues. Raise your rates is always like the de facto standard. Double your rates this year, triple your rates, go higher, and then let people leave if they don't want to pay for that. But emphasize the value. What are they getting there? Add value to the pricing. Eliminate components to stay within budget. Here's another thing you might want to give an alternative to. If budget limits just can't allow the prospect to go with your price, then say, you know what is their price? Ask them the question. And if they don't want to tell you, then you have a standstill. If they tell you their budget and say we're X, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 budgeted on this, then maybe take something out of the proposal, take something out of the product itself, because they may not need it anyways. Maybe they can use it in phase 2, but for right now, if they can't do it, they can't do it. And the third reason here, an alternative, is to walk away. I've said it before, and I'm a firm believer, saying no and walking away is empowering and acceptable way for you to run your business. Remember that, it's your business. You get to make the rules here. So as with every rule, there are exceptions. Occasionally, discounts could make sense, and you just need to make sure that it does make sense for you. Nonprofits. Many of us in the WordPress web space offer and work with nonprofits. We offer discounts to them, and I do that as well. But what I require is I want proof of nonprofit, 501c3, and they have to kind of ask for it too. If they don't ask, just because they're a nonprofit doesn't mean they're not profitable. So don't just give it away without being asked. Have that be a conversation. Now, if that's your entire focus in the web space and you're just only going after nonprofits, well, that might be what you automatically do. But again, I always wait for the ask. So there you have it. So some reasons to discount, definitely reasons not to discount, and ways to do it as well. Emphasize the value, I think, is your strongest point here. And be ready to walk away. There's plenty of work out there. People will value what you do, what you bring to the table. Okay, that's it for that. Moving on to segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip was actually submitted by, I believe it was Sally. Yeah, Clippy, CSS Clip Path Maker by Bennett Feely. It's over at bennettfeely.com/Clippy. Pretty cool. It lets you use CSS. It's like a little tool there to give yourself clip paths, different shapes, trapezoid, parallelogram, right arrow, just tons of shapes. I'll put a link in the show notes. But it's over at bennettfeely.com, BENNETTFEELY.com Clippy, but link in the show notes. Check it out. Pretty neat stuff if you're looking for clipping paths for complex shapes in CSS. It just saves a ton of time. So there you have it. All right, let me wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use the SpeakPipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can do that. Become a Patreon. You could sponsor the show like cPanel did this week. Thanks again to them for sponsoring this week's show. There's a form on the website for that as well. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.